Here's a link to the wiki, so you can follow along with that or take my guidance. But like, this is the thing right now that is always there, I guess, in addition to this recording. So you don't have to reference it, but it's what I'll be looking at to take you through.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So I have the EY divestiture solution right here.
Perfect.
So we'll go ahead and open that.
First thing you're going to need to do, which is probably going to take a second, is just make sure you're on the master branch and then pull.
Cool.
You can do that just by, well, you can do it here too.
Oh yeah, I tend to stay here instead of doing it in Visual Studio. I'm already on master. I don't know why I did that.
This might totally screw up Visual Studio. Hopefully it doesn't care.
And to confirm, this is the case that they don't want it.
All right.
There's no use for
I can just get rid of all this stuff.
at all. Is that right?
Yeah, you can just close everything if you want.
Okay.
Okay, so just make sure that pull is successful. Great, looking good. Okay. So basically, just so you're aware, release notes is something, there's a feature that I actually created so that we could have release notes for when we do releases and patches.
Right.
What you're asking for is obviously something you want to be able to run outside of that cycle. So I basically kind of made like a little kind of side path that you can take, and that way you can run it anytime you want, and no one's ever going to you're not going to affect anybody else, nobody's going to affect you.
Yeah.
So just so you're aware, that's why some of the stuff will be you're going to choose a different parameter. So if you, let's see, start at the beginning. So the first thing to do is just make sure that you're on the branch you want and that there aren't committed changes, because when it does the notes about what's changed, it's using what the project currently looks like as the current state. So if you make some changes or whatever, it's going to think, oh, that's my current state. It's not like it's actually understanding the repository. So you just want to make sure your working directory is clean.
Okay.
Simple enough. And then the next step is going to be a one-time step that you'll have to do because you want to go the custom route. So on let's just do it this way. So just open the folder structure for the repository.
Okay. So we have the EY divestiture core right here. We don't need these artifacts.
Okay, so you can do it in Solution Explorer. I meant you could open File Explorer for this next piece, because I think that's probably easier. So yeah, and then just navigate down into Taz Suite and then Deployment. So go into the SPMeta 2, divestiture. So this is the solution you have open in Visual Studio. Right. And then UI divestiture console is the project we're interested in. This is where release notes are stored. And you can see there's a release notes folder there. So it doesn't look like this was pulled successfully. Oh, it's because I haven't merged. I did this, but I didn't push it. Okay. Sorry.
No problem.
Sorry that you have to wait on me for a moment. Just trying to get this through, and then it didn't go through because of a conflict, and I didn't see it until just now. Okay, so that's good.
Yeah, I had it written down. I was like, saying, every time we always there's something, and now should this ever be process this
All right.
moving on then. This was like the first
Okay,
time.
so now we just have to wait a minute for the build process to confirm the
Push the borders.
confirm the branch, merge the PR, and then you can pull after that. Should only take a moment.
Exactly.
Okay.
Folder.
All right. Resuming the video. Gonna go into release notes custom.
Yep, go into that folder. And now this is where you'll make a folder for your custom release notes. So you could have more than one if you wanted to, but you shouldn't need to. So you can call this whatever you want. You just have to remember the name of this folder.
Okay. So should I just call this like data model updates? Or is this
it really doesn't matter. So just anything you're going to be able to remember easily. Although your computer will cache it, so.
Okay, we'll just do data model updates.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Okay, so now that's all good to go. So now go back to Visual Studio. And you're going to say reload all, yeah. Okay, cool. So now that the project's up to date, you should just be able to run it. So if you click Start at the top of the screen. So given that it sounds like you haven't run this project in a while, we'll probably have to go through sign in.
Yeah, it's been just a little bit.
The key thing I think to emphasize there, Adam, is that both of these rules, either the front end API just say one, or this end-to-end developer, like strong front end is required. Because we've seen candidates who are really, really strong and senior, but they don't have front end skills, and so that means that we have to pass on that. Because that's, to make it clear, like no matter what we hire, they have to have front end skills, because like that's the bread and butter of the business right now. Like regardless of which project.
Cool, so the SharePoint URL doesn't really matter. Actually, none of this stuff really matters, but you just have to make sure you choose the right execute param because you don't want to do anything that you don't want to do. Okay. So as long as the SharePoint URL is a real site, so dev.redrock is fine in this case.
All right.
So just press enter to go with the stored value. Okay, it looks like it's stored default. So if you just use the default values,
is that my ADFS credit user or which one?
Yeah, so if you just hit enter, use the value, it's pre-selected.
Yeah, it filled this in last time. Okay.
It's saved your information. So just press enter until you get, yeah, keep going. Okay, I think after this it's going to take a second because it's going to like sign you in. Oh no, after this one. So now it's going to wait a second. Don't press anything until it gives you options. Okay, perfect. So press spacebar to remove quick add because you don't want to do that right now.
Okay.
And then use the arrow keys to go down to the very last option. The local development only build custom release notes is the one you want. So then press spacebar. So just make sure that's the only one selected. And then press enter. And now it's going to ask you some additional information. So release title is, again, this is just whatever you want it to be. It's just what it's going to put in the notes. So you can call that anything or nothing. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
And it'll cache this too. So, okay, and then custom release folder. This has to be the name of the folder that you just made.
Let's just confirm that it has, yeah, okay.
Perfect. Okay, let me sure I'm not missing anything.
Hit enter.
Yeah, so now you can press enter and it's going to do its thing.
I like that idea because I think to sit down right now and try to go through all that would take a lot of time and probably it would be very efficient and it wouldn't be that
I
precise.
don't think you've hit enter.
I can try to iron out a couple
There you go.
of draft postings for like the levels and then come back. I think that's a good idea. So what I really want to like assess from this meeting, the key things, like, so first of all, I think the easy
Okay, so it looks like you need to refresh your packages for the project. So press continue up top.
For anything, like for either, like for this front end full stack rule, for this front end rule for these full stack rules, like.
So it threw an error because it was missing a package. So if you right click in the Solution Explorer on UI divestiture console, which is in, right click on that, and then say.
That's my question.
Actually, I think it's going to be manage NuGet packages. It's about in the middle.
That we don't really advertise. Like, do we even bother?
I just want to make sure it's installed all the dependencies.
Only have the postings for Atlanta for simplicity's sake.
So click on the gear. Yeah, that's weird. Why is that not in there? Click on the gear on the right. Okay, that wasn't it. Alright, that should have happened automatically. Okay, why don't you try clicking, actually no.
Or should I, do I need to click this solution? I think I clicked the EY divestiture console.
That's actually not in there.
So.
Yes, yeah, restore NuGet packages. That's what I was looking for.
Okay, I clicked the wrong thing. I clicked right below it.
I think I told you the wrong thing. Sorry about that. You don't have to do that very often. Although it says everything's good. Can you drop down the UI divestiture console? Actually, which one would it be under? Let me just look at mine really fast. Okay, never mind. Can you drop down the references under UI divestiture core? So in the one below, drop down the references. I just want to see. All right, let's get to sharp as in it. Okay, so let's try running it again.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Just restore NuGet, or are you just talking about start?
Yeah, just start the solution again. See if it.
I agree with that because I also think
succeeds for us.
so expensive that like you want part of what you're paying for to be.
And if this doesn't work, we'll do it
the
the super secret way. Okay, so because it's going to save everything, you can just press enter all the way through. You don't really have to think about it. All right, perfect. So what it's done now is it's generated, I'm going to keep calling them release notes, but whatever you want to call it, change log. I just used release notes when I was building it.
Okay.
So it generated notes based on where it was, which was nothing, to where it is now, which is obviously whatever the state of the project is now.
Mm-hmm.
So you have nothing, and now you have this. So this time, you're just going to copy all of these files.
The folder as well?
Yep, everything in this directory. You just copy it.
Okay.
And then if you notice, this is in the wiki, if you notice, you see how you're under the bin folder of
Right.
UI divestiture console? So that bin folder is outside of like source control.
Mm-hmm.
So these generated files, like if you don't do anything at this point, like nothing's going to happen. Like it generated them, but you have to actually do something to like check them in and say, yes, this is now the state that I'm in.
Okay.
So you'll go back up to UI divestiture console. And then go now into, instead of bin, go into release notes custom. And then those files go in your data model updates folder.
Cool.
what you've just done is you've put the release notes themselves in there, like the part that you want to read, and you've also put the essentially state of the repository in here. So now what you want to do is go back to the console window that you were running.
Like move to Pittsburgh, like work for us. It's like try to track the California logos. Anyway, I think it could be something that's like not out of the question.
No, I don't actually see it. It was
I
there.
also really have a strong feeling that once we
Where is your console window on the
we label them
bar?
correctly and they're not so broad. I think what we
It's the last one. That one. So now you press the X key, and it'll remove all those temporary generated things which you've already copied. Okay, so now it's done. So now you can press any key to exit.
Okay.
So, and the best way then to verify that you've done what you intended to do is to now run the release notes generation again, because anytime after you've generated them and then saved them to the repository,
exactly.
you should then be able to run it and it'll say, well, there's no changes.
Okay.
So if you run the project one more time,
Just by hitting start.
Yep. And again, you can just press enter all the way through.
Now, since if I did a git pull and then ran it again, there would be like new release notes if there were changes that went through or that got merged, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Because it's comparing what the files currently look like to what's in that folder, and you just generated what's in that folder off of what the
I
files
think
currently
it's
look like.
also rich to still continue to post
Okay.
like broad bases like CSS traits that like
We'll do a change here just for,
replacement.
you know,
If we
just as an example.
entice them to apply, then if we have a
That would be
verification
good.
question, like maybe we can take it on a case by case basis. But I do think it makes sense to not close that door, but maybe it's not.
So just a heads up, this generator is tracking more than just schema and SPMeta, so like you'll see if files in certain folders change as well, and you can just ignore those. I don't care.
Okay.
Great, so you can see it didn't open the generated files or anything, it just said, nope, you're good to go. So that's excellent, 2 thumbs up.
Cool.
So why don't you press the key to exit, shut this down, and now the most important part, which is, so you have this state that you want to then be able to say, okay, no, I'm up to date today, but a week from now, what's changed? What do I need to do to get up to date?
Right.
So you should branch off of master and then commit your changes to the repository so that they're then saved.
Okay. So it's saying I've got the changes here, data model updates.
Yep, so you do git checkout D, and then name your branch, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
And then commit your changes.
Okay, so just, in your mind, would you, like, is the front end posting junior to mid level, and then the senior, or outside the full stack role is exclusively senior? Mid level senior?
Right.
Sweet. So now if you do a git status, you should be totally up to date. I guess the last step would be just to push up to.
Yeah. I gotta do this.
Yeah.
So there's nothing that we need to grab the release notes from the master branch, but then when we grab the release notes from master, we want to get off of master, correct? And use our own.
Yeah, just because you're going to make commits as you track the release notes, and we don't want those on master, right? Like what you're doing doesn't really, it should be separate.
So will I have to go back to master and do those first 2 steps again, or could I just continue using my branch to run the tool?
Yeah, so you'll keep using your branch, but So remember, it's just going off of what your branch looks like, and you've now branched off of master. So anytime you want to, if a week from now you're like, well, what's changed? The first thing you'll do is merge master into your branch, right? You'll merge all the changes that have occurred in master, and then you can run the release notes on your branch because it now looks like master.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. And that's documented in the steps or in the wiki?
That part's not documented in the steps, but that is a great point. Like, I guess this is more like actually specific to what you're doing, but, well, maybe not. Yeah, that's a good note. That's a really good note.
I think keeping the.
So just while this is going and running the lens, just so I'm clear, so I know, when I want to come back in, I'll reload up master. I'll do a git pull. I don't have to go through the steps again that we just did before, but I can then do a merge master into my branch and run, I'm assuming, these next steps that we're about to do.
So next time you come in, you'll do everything you just said, and you'll just run exactly what we just did again.
Okay. Will I have to take those release notes from?
I think we previously said like any modern.
Yes.
Okay, and put them back in. Do I overwrite those files?
I'd say so.
Yeah. Once this finishes, we'll do a mock change, like as if you had merged master.
Cool.
So I can show you, yeah, because it'll just be there's one author step, and it's in a sense it's almost an optional step. It's just if you forget to do it, then when you run it again to make sure that you're actually up to date, it might not show correctly, basically.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I should have told you to do no verifying.
Sorry, why are you asking me? Okay. In terms, I think that's pretty much covered this topic. I have enough information to work with to draft the next postings. Adam, have you thought about like, so with this QA change, like how soon are we looking to?
So do you work in the master?
And like, put out a new way?
Like, do you work in this repository very often? I mean, obviously not in the C# solution, but are you in this repository fairly frequently?
No, not really. Mainly I'm just working with.
Wow, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, but we can't run NSS to get behind the firewall, and that's just like too much. So. But anyways, okay, so it finished up.
Really want to get us on SQL. Sweet. Okay, so now just to prove that this is unchanged, if you run git status, it should be totally clean.
Yep.
Looking fantastic. Okay, so let's simulate a change as if it had occurred. So let's go back to Visual Studio. And why don't you open, so close that references thing I had you drop down in the core project. And then under artifacts, let's change something.
Okay.
So let's change something that I'd be interested in. Yeah, close this folder, close this list templates folder. And then there should be fields info. Yeah, it's towards the bottom. Fields info. Oh, you went too far, it was on the screen. It's towards the bottom of the screen now. Fields info. You're right below it. Yeah, so just open that up.
Okay.
So what if somebody changed the title of that view by field at the top to view by some weird title, like at the bottom? I guess you could change the internal name too. You could change whatever you want.
Sounds good.
You probably don't care about the title, you probably only care about the internal
So
name, huh?
what I'm hearing, it sounds
yeah.
like even if you don't have an exact one right now, we know that it's multiple and it's likely to grow. So
But either one,
can we
yeah.
safely like get these postings drafted, finalized, and then launch
So changing the internal name,
Joe Conrad can handle it pretty well.
or was there another? Were you saying like?
Oh, that's perfect. Just do that. So hit save.
Okay.
So now I saved it. So, pretend in your head like you just merged master and that was the change that occurred. So you wouldn't know. You would go now and run the release notes again.
Mm-hmm. So run them.
Yep.
And I ran these from my branch on this time, but this is more. I'd be doing this on master.
No, you will always run it from your branch.
Okay.
You will merge
master
master into your branch.
Got it.
You always run from your branch. Now you can just press enter all the way through. So if this is the only thing you ever use this project for, then this will just always be the same. So that'll be nice.
Cool.
And so now it'll go look for changes, and it should find an error. That's weird. You're having the same issue with that library. Why it's not loading that first time? Well, why don't you just click continue, and why don't you just try booting it up again, I guess.
I had thought about it while I was the QA and other things that took priority, but like, do you have any thoughts on the office admin?
Yeah, go ahead and press. Just go ahead and try going again.
Do you think maybe that's something?
I'm kind of curious why this is kind of intermittently happening. Once a package is installed, it should be, good to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, enter all the way through again. That is too weird. I don't know why. It's like half the time not finding a package. Wow. Update Visual Studio.
Yeah.
And we can check one more thing after this, but this should be the part you're interested in. Okay, so it generated release notes, which means it found some difference. So let's just go through the process first on how to update release notes. So yeah, select everything, copy that stuff, and then go again to your custom release notes folder, because that's always what you'll update.
Got it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Inside data model updates.
Yep, and then the one thing that you'll do, that you should do, is remove the release notes files folder.
Okay.
Because that's essentially the state of files in the repository. So if we don't remove this, like you wouldn't see deletes happen because you're just pasting it in.
Okay.
So
deleting
that's really the only additional step. Now you just paste. And I'll tell you, because it will occur when data files are changed, it will try to do, so replace everything. When data files are changed, it will do text diffs. So you might see another folder sometimes when you generate the notes called like release notes links.
Okay.
Just go ahead and copy it over along with everything else.
Should I delete that folder also?
No, actually you shouldn't delete that folder. So the only folder you'll ever delete is release notes files. And if release notes links is there, great, copy it over. If not, then don't worry about it either.
Okay.
So great. So now in theory your release notes are up to date. So let's try running it one more time to make sure you're up to date. So So press X to finish. Perfect. Flip a coin and see if this runs successfully or not.
Yeah.
So I think I closed it for the job postings. I think we have a file of clarity on where we sent add the just a little bit faster, but the document of the 30-minute technical interview that we sent out to the developers who has like an instruction manual how to conduct it. In the elevator pitch section that you sent us, there were a couple questions, and I think that on it that we wanted to clarify with you. Let me see what they are. This one here, it says, if I want to add on this, should it say up to 5% or 401k match?
Alright, success. So close this, and now you have... So now let's go back to release notes, and I can show you how to interact with them.
Let me just make sure.
So, yeah, so just open that folder, go in there. So probably the absolute easiest way to interact with this is if you have Visual Studio Code, to just open this folder in Visual Studio Code.
So maybe just this folder, the whole thing.
Yeah, like if you open data model updates in Visual Studio Code.
Is there an open with, or do you think I should just
You might have to just
navigate to it?
There are ways to do it. Why don't you just open Visual Studio Code and just find the folder and open it.
Do you know it off the top of your head?
Oh, you're actually in the repository. I was suggesting like change a different folder. Yeah, I mean it's deployment.
So I actually, let me just go file, open folder, and go grab it.
Yeah, this would open it as the top level if you do it this way. And you can kind of just switch between. Console. Perfect.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So release notes files you never have to be concerned with. Release notes files and state are just the tracking of the current state. The only files you'll be interested in, probably all the time, are the release notes and release notes latest, and probably usually just release notes latest.
Okay.
So if you open release notes latest, it is Markdown, which is kind of like colored a little bit in this view, but at the top right of your screen, you should have one of those buttons will be like preview Markdown. I think it's like the second one, that one, I think it's that one actually.
Okay. Cool.
So then you can actually like close the left-hand side if you want and just read the nice version.
Nice.
And so there you go. So this is the latest file, which is just going to show you all the changes that have occurred since the last time you ran a release note. So as you can see, in this case, an internal name is the field. You can't change an internal name. So what really happens from a SharePoint perspective is that view by field was deleted. So you can see view by, the second one, has a minus next to it.
Yeah.
And then city views, they both have a title of view by because you didn't change the title, was added. And then you can see that because the field was changed, it affected some of the lists and content types. So this is the kind of diff you'll be looking at. It's going to be pretty lengthy because a lot of changes happen within the project, but it sounds like what you'll mostly be interested in are like the field names, I guess, and I suppose any list additions.
Yeah. Yep, definitely stuff like that. So I guess thinking of you know, I run this report a month from now. I get a whole bunch of stuff. Is there, and then I run it again a month later. I can't see the previous release notes, correct? If I overwrote them, it's like,
So you can. That is the beauty of this system. So you are looking at release notes latest right now. If you open release notes all, what this file is, if you do want everything.
I think my last one,
oh my god. Yeah.
So you'll see the, yeah, close the left hand side. Close the other one on the left hand side. Yeah, there you go. So if you go all the way to the top, you'll see we're just looking at the latest. So it stacks whatever's the latest is going to be on top, and then going down will be the previous. So the first thing you did, you can see when you initially generated them, it just said, well, everything's new. So just everything has a plus sign next to it.
Yeah.
But yes, if you want to see history, this is your answer. Every time that you generate release notes, it's actually using your current release notes to say where am I at and updating them accordingly.
Awesome. So, I guess, is the bottom the latest?
The bottom would be the oldest.
The oldest, okay. So,
I mean, it's not really the oldest, it would be like the oldest notes in a sense. So like if you started at the bottom of this and did every single change like as an instruction, by the time you're at the top, you would be at the current version of the repository.
okay. So, I guess, help me read this. So, we've got template files, and then we've got SSRS. So, these are just reports that were added, right? Data. So,
Correct. All the things before you get to fields are files. So like you're seeing like file names like all list.json.
yeah.
And then when you come to the bottom, you'll see fields, content types, and lists. A lot of fields.
Yeah.
I think you just passed content types. Yeah, there's your content types.
And then there's lists.
Lists.
And then can we, so like at the top of this whole thing, it shows like step by step, like what happened, right? Like content types.
Yes.
So, yeah, so it doesn't tell you like what it changed to, does it? Like view by cities, view by.
Well, it is. That's kind of what I was explaining. Like in SharePoint's mind, and I should say the way you have to do it, like you can't rename the internal name of a list, of a field, which is what you changed.
Yeah.
You actually have to make a new one. So even though you changed one line in the file, that's actually the equivalent of like not using the old field anymore and creating a new one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Because you changed only one line in the back end, but in the front end, it's redoing it.
Yeah, so what it's showing you here is view by internal name was removed, city views internal name was added at the top.
Okay, so can I see those changes for these lists here? Like what happened with cost basis and what happened with decision?
So the first thing you generated, like everything's new. So it's basically just saying everything's new.
Oh, okay. So there's not like, I guess, history from forever ago, obviously now.
No, it's only able to say this is what I know and now where am I at. So, but you are bringing up one thing that is kind of like, you know, this is intended to make your job easier.
Yeah.
If somebody just adds a new list, like you're gonna have to go look at that list and find out what the list is comprised of. Because release notes is just gonna say there's a new list, like everything is new. I'm not gonna put everything
right
into my notes. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So you still have to do some investigation, but at least it tells you that what changed.
Yeah, and you can see like, you know, you change that field and it's showing the field added and removed, but it's also showing like those are the content types and lists affected by that, because you can see, you know, in the view, in the all documents view of project status snapshots, instead of view by, it's now referencing city views. So I mean, they're you know, it's trying to give you as much information as possible, you know, within reason. Otherwise, you'd just be looking at a screen full of an absurd amount of data, basically.
Yeah.
So
this is awesome. This will totally help us, and I know it will help a lot of people too.
Great. Well, definitely let me know if you have any questions. Like, I know, the first time going through it kind of feels like a lot, but I think over time it'll be pretty easy. Just like merge master, run release nodes, see what happened.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah, let me know if you need help or anything.
Cool. This is great. Thank you so much, Jason, and all you guys for doing this.
I'm so glad because I wanted to do this for you, but I didn't even get the green light to do it until we were asked by for a totally different reason to do this. So you're benefiting from somebody else's future request, and I get credit twice. So I'm happy. I'm happy it helps.
Yeah, definitely. Make sure you put that down. Charge a little extra.
Awesome.
Sweet. Okay, I'll definitely let you know if I have any questions going through this, but I'm pretty sure I got all of it that I need.
Sweet.